Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and following the COVID precaution as well. In the previous video, we have just completed the chapter weather and climate. Okay, so in that chapter, we have studied about what is the difference between weather and the climate and what are the adaptation which is followed by many of the animals to survive themselves. Okay, and we have read about how this polar bear survive, how fishes survive in the water and all, and that was the important topics for it. Now today in this video we are going to start our next chapter, that is wind, storm and cyclone. So in this chapter, first I'm going to introduce this chapter and a little bit about this. Okay, I hope you all are excited to come to school also, but don't forget to follow the COVID precaution. You have to bring your own water bottle, own sanitizer. You are not going to take anything from anyone. Okay, bring everything of your own. Okay, I hope this would be understood to you. Now let's start with this chapter. So in this lesson we are going to study introduction, wind, air pressure, thunderstorm, cyclones, tornado, safety measures that we are going to follow. Now, have you ever noticed what happens to the flag when it is hoisted? What happens to it? So the flag tends to fly with the wind. With the moving air, it tends to move from one place to another. So it kinds of waves. What happens when you leave your hair open and suddenly switch on the fan? So you sit under the fan and the fan is switched on. So what happened to your hair? Your hair tends to fly and it kind of come over your face and all over there. It's kind of irritating. Okay. Now what makes your hair fly? It's the wind which makes the hair fly. Try this out. Leave a book open and keep it under the fan which is on. Switch on the fan and keep this to open just below the fan. What happens? You would see that the pages of the book get turned on their own. So you are not turning the pages, it's just happening on its own. But if there is no wind or if there is no moving air inside the room, that doesn't happen. So pages remain there. So as soon as the air or a streak of air which is moving, so the pages also tend to move with the moving air. You must have noticed what happens to your clothes when you leave them to dry in the sun. During windy weather, they tend to fly away. In fact, if you do not clip them properly, they are actually fly away with the wind. You keep your window panes open, you would see the curtains of the fly with the wind. Or even if the window beams are closed, if you switch on the fan inside the room, that also make the wind curtains wave. Okay. You would have also noticed that in case of your traveling from one city to another, you have noticed amidst the green vast field, you would have seen the windmills. So this is how So you would have noticed in midst of green vast field, you would have seen the windmills. So this is how they look like. So the fans like structure which keeps on rotating like this, and what rotates, nobody is standing there to make it rotate. So if they rotate with the wind, whenever there is a the wind is moving, the wind will rotate on its own. And what is this for? And this is, do you know what is the purpose of this windmill? So they are for very useful purpose. They help in generation of electricity. So that's how we harness the energy which is present in the moving air or wind. So in this lesson we are basically going to talk about more about wind. We are going to talk about what causes wind to blow, what are winds, what are the extreme version of winds. sometimes it becomes so violent that it can cause huge destruction and the loss of life as well as property. Okay, so we are going to look at all those destructive version of wind when it become that violent, and we are also going to talk about the basics like what is wind, what causes wind to flow. So even before we start, when we talk about wind, something that comes to our mind immediately is the wind which blows just before a rainfall or after a heavy rain. What happens? You would see that the leaves of the trees, if the wind is heavy enough, their branches, the entire tree tends to bend now. So even the slightest movement of air can be noticed in the leaves and branches, because the leaves of they are very light, they get easily moved by a little bit of air which is moving. But when the wind becomes very intense, then sometimes it is accumulated by thunder and storm. They become scary, and they are the ones which causes destruction of life and property. So let us now learn what causes these natural phenomena like wind, storm and cyclone, etc. So before that, let us understand what is wind. So based on the example which I listed in the previous slides, I hope you are able to understand what is wind. It is nothing but a moving air. So this is the simple definition of the wind. Wind is a moving air. A lot of time people think that, sometimes people are not able to distinguish between wind and air. They think both of them sound similar, but actually they are not similar. Okay, so when air is static, that is air which contain a lot of gases, a mixture of gases, that is air. But when the same air is moving from one place to another, we call it a wind. Okay, so wind is nothing but a moving air. So think of a wind. Obviously in the nature you have wind which we see, the trees are moving, your hair fly. So even inside a room you can feel wind, you can feel the movement of air. So if you are sitting quiet inside the room and this fan is switched off, what happens when the fan is switched on? You feel your hair, they start moving. So the hair that tends to get tangled when wind blows. So what do you understand from this? This shows that air, when it is not moving, it is not capable of making other object move. As you can see here, air was present around this lady, but the air was not moving, and therefore it could not make the hair move. But in the next scenario, when the air was moving, so that moving air has enough energy to make these hair also fly with it. So that means wind has some sort of energy because of which it can make other objects move. And these movements are seen either in terms of turning of the pages of the book or the waving of the flags, etc. So now the question is, does air have so much strength to cause these changes? Because these are not the simple changes, whether you talk about the movement of hair or the pages of the book which can turn on its own due to wind, or you are talking about the movement of different parts of the plant. So all this movement, they happen because of some sort of force applies on these objects. That means when air moves, it has some sort of energy, some sort of strength, because of which they can move other objects as well. So that's quite interesting. So let us see how exactly or what property of air help the movement of the objects. So here we will talk about this surprising yet beautiful concept that air exerts pressure. Now since air exerts pressure, this pressure makes a lot of things move along with the moving air. Just think of this scenario. So in this scenario where you are trying to learn, if wind is also blowing in the same direction, what happens? You feel as if the wind is pushing you, and you run in the opposite direction. While in this case, forgive about the wind. Let's say that you have walk out for your pad. If this is your pad and it is running in this direction, it is kind of pushing in the same direction. So it is become easier to run in the same direction. Similarly, if wind is also blowing in this direction, so it supports you all. So basically air is exerting a pressure on you, because of which it becomes easier for you to run in the same direction. When you ride a bicycle, so riding a bicycle is also easier when you are trying to ride it in the same direction as the wind. So let's say you are riding in this direction, the wind is also blowing in this direction. The wind which actually give a pressure or it exert a force on you in the same direction, which will make your riding easier. Flying a kite. So when you fly a kite, if the wind going in the same direction, it is easier for you, because you know wherever direction you want your kite to go, it exerts a very little force while doing that. But imagine a situation where the reverse thing is happening. Let's say you are trying to fly the kite in this direction, but there is a wind which is blowing in this direction. So basically the wind is trying to oppose the movement of the kite, so you need to apply more force. So it will need more effort from your side to fly a kite in the direction opposite to that of wind. The same thing holds true when you are sailing a boat. So if you are in the direction of wind, it helps, because your sailing become easier. But the same thing if you do in a opposite direction, it becomes very difficult. Now whenever you are moving along with the direction of the wind, you are seeing that you need to put less effort. That's because air is also putting some pressure. The moving air is also exert pressure either on you or both the boat or a kite or a bicycle. So all these cases, if you look at these examples, you get to know that yes, to some extent this is true, that air can exert pressure. So let us try to perform some experiment. So in these experiments, we will actually prove that yes, the air do exert pressure. Now try this out yourself. Take a glass, fill it with water up to the brim. So it's like a completely filled with the water. Now take a cardboard or maybe a thick sheet of paper and put that cardboard, place it over the glass as I have placed it here. So this is the cardboard or maybe a thick sheet of paper, and this glass is filled with water up to the brim. So it's completely filled with water. So now we will see a magic happen. Now what you have to do is next is turn the glass upside down. Just turn it upside down quickly and take your hands away. So you are just holding it from here, so your hand is not at the bottom. So what should happen? What do we normally expect? We normally expect that the cardboard should fall off because we are stuck it into the glass. There is no glue between the glass and the cardboard, but the magic that happened here is the cardboard still sticks to the glass. It stays at the same place even when we have moved our hands. So that's almost like a magic. This is really not magic. There is a science behind it. Do you know why this happened? This happened because now if the card is tearing here, that loses some pressure which is being in the direction of this side because it is staying there, but hand is not exerting that pressure. So it is basically the pressure which is exerted by the air in the atmosphere and the surrounding. Air is present everywhere. So basically the atmospheric pressure which is exerted on this card is greater than the pressure exerted by the water which is present inside the glass. Now since this pressure is more, therefore the cardboard remains there, and this atmospheric pressure forces the card to stick to the glass. So you see, here you get to know that the atmospheric pressure exists. Because of its existence, this magic can happen. So this is one simple yet beautiful experiment which you can carry out at your home also. Let's look at another example. Now when you say drink anything, juice, cold drink, how do you drink it? With straw. So as you say, sip through the straw, the liquid comes through the straw, it comes to your mouth. Now if you try to understand this concept that how the straw works, so that's also sound quite interesting, because you see, we say that all the objects get attracted towards the gravity. So every object has the tendency to fall towards the ground. But in case of straw, as you just try to pull it, the liquid comes from the bottom to the top. So how does this movement of the liquid happens? Let us try to understand. So when you look at this glass of liquid with the straw, when the straw is sitting in the glass, nobody is sipping. As long as you not sip through this straw, the liquid is not going to come to your mouth. When this straw is simply sitting in the glass, what happens? Pressure which exists somewhere on the surface of the liquid, same all over. Here, everywhere, the pressure is the same. Nobody is exerting any extra pressure anywhere. So when I talk about this pressure, I am also talking about the pressure which is existing in the little bit on the surface inside the straw. So when you look at the straw, the surface of the straw, it also has the same pressure which is there and which is in this level of the liquid. Correct? Now what happened when we suck the air out of the straw? So when we suck the air, we are taking in some air from the straw inside our mouth. Alright, so basically when we suck, the air pressure inside the straw decreases. Inside the straw, the air pressure decreases. So now what happens? The pressure outside the straw is more than the pressure inside the straw. So here the pressure is more and here the pressure is less. So this pressure, since the pressure is more here, basically here the air will exert some pressure on the liquid, and this pressure will force the liquid to move up through the straw. So basically it is due to the difference in the pressure inside the straw and outside the straw which forces the liquid to move up the straw. So when the straw is being sucked, as long as the straw is not sucked, the liquid will not move up through the straw. So basically what happened here is pressure outside the straw is greater than pressure inside the straw. And why this happened? This is because we have sucked in the air from inside the straw. So air itself have taken it. So when you have taken up the air, obviously the air pressure has reduced inside. So that's the reason how the pressure difference is created. And wherever there is a pressure difference, it is something like this. So from this side you have this much of pressure, and whereas from this side you just have this much of pressure. So if you have an object here, you overall the object will experience a pressure in this direction, right? Because more pressure is being exerted in this direction. So this is the same thing happened to here also. The pressure is outside is more, liquid is light, it moves to up through the straw. So with these experiments we got to know that the air pressure exists. So there is a pressure which is being exerted by the air. So that is kind of proof. Now how exactly the air pressure controls the movement of the air? Because movement of air is wind, so basically we are trying to see that how the wind related to air pressure. Now what happens is increased wind speed is accompanied by decreased air pressure. This is a very important concept of air pressure. Now what do we mean when we say that increased wind speed? What is wind? It is nothing but a moving air. The air is moving, that is wind. Now what would determine the speed of the wind? So it is nothing but the speed with which the particles which are present in the air are moving. So when I say increased wind speed, I basically mean to say that the particles in the air or the air particles are moving faster. So that is increased wind speed. So those particles in the air, wherever they move very fast, it causes a decrease in air pressure. Now you might be wondering that how the speed related to pressure. Let's look at this example. I am going a little out of the track to explain you the relationship between speed and air pressure. Look at this scenario where you see it's like a queue of a children. They are standing in a queue, and you will see that they are like moving one after another. So they are all moving one after another. So each of them has enough time to say ring the bell. So every time they move ahead, they have to ring a bell. So since they are moving comparatively slowly, they have enough time to ring the bell. Now instead, if you have another scenario where the same bunch of students, they move, but they move really fast. Now when they move fast, each of them hardly have any time to ring the bell in between, because they are they are in huge hurry. So when they are in hurry, they do not have time to ring the bell in between, right? So what was the difference you observe in these two scenarios? So in the first scenario, since each of the child is moving slowly, so they have enough time to ring the bell. In the second scenario, each child is moving very fast, so they do not have time to ring the bell. Same thing happens here. So when I talk about wind speed, I am talking about the air particles. So here each of these child, they represent the air particles. So these are one air particle. So when air particles are moving slowly, that means the wind speed is less. So they have enough time to exert pressure on objects. So for example, when air moves, our hair starts flowing with the wind. That is because the particles in the air, they are moved, they exert some pressure on our hair, and because of that hair moves. So when the particles are moving comparatively slower, they have time to exert pressure on other objects. But when they are moving so fast, they hardly have any time to exert pressure on anything. So basically when they are moving slowly, they are going to exert more pressure. The air pressure is going to be more. But when they are moving very fast, they hardly have any time. Then therefore, they will exert little pressure. So therefore, increased wind speed is always accompanied by decreased air pressure. So in any region, if the wind speed has increased, so sometimes when during the bad weather, the rain after heavy rain, you see that wind speed is very high. So whenever the wind speed is high, the air pressure in that particular area decreases. So with this we get to know that when the speed is slow, basically when slow wind speed, so this was the example of slow wind speed, and slow wind speed would mean increased air pressure because each of the particle has enough time to exert a lot of pressure. Whereas when the wind speed is very fast, so increased wind speed, each particle doesn't have enough time, so they exert, therefore this would be accompanied by decreased air pressure. So let us try to apply the same concept to this example of. So as I mentioned before, what happens when we suck through the straw, the liquid that is present inside the glass, it tends to come up through this straw, and that's how it enters in our mouth. So here we will see another interesting concept associated with air pressure. So here if you see, the movement of air happens along with the gradient, along the region of higher concentration towards a region of lower concentration. So what is this concentration which we are talking about? So basically, in this case, the movement of air, not only in this case, everywhere we will see that air always moves from a region of high pressure towards a region of lower pressure. So this is another important property of air, or another important concept of air pressure. So therefore in this case also, if you look at the when we suck in the air from inside the straw, Therefore, the low pressure is created inside the straw. So inside the straw there is a low pressure, and outside the straw there is a high pressure. So air move from the region of high pressure towards the region of low pressure, and that is why liquid also moved with that air pressure. Basically, the movement of liquid also happens from outside the straw to inside the straw. So wherever air pressure is more, air will move from that area towards the area where air pressure is less. Okay, I hope you would understand this concept. So basically, air moves only when there is a difference in the pressure to the region of high pressure to the region of low pressure, and that's how the air moves. This is all about today. I hope whatever I have explained you today would be understood by you, and if not, I will explain it again in the Google Meet classes. If you have any doubt in any concept, I will explain it again. Thank you, students.